Which would be the recipe to avoid the entry of African swine fever into a country? The recipe as veterinarians, I mean.
In fact, there is not a single recipe to control a disease like ASF. There are many parameters to bear in mind to see how the disease spreads. Therefore, ideally, a hazard analysis should be carried out, and we should see which is the greatest hazard in each area and situation. But if you ask me about a specific continent or country, I would tell you which would be the mechanisms for the spreading of the disease. As a general recipe, there are 4 key factors. The first one is that it is a tremendously resistant virus. This is, it can remain in a carcass or food for days or months while being completely active. In second place, the virus is extremely active in blood. 1 drop of blood, so you can get an idea, contains more than 3,000 copies of the virus. Therefore, if some drops that have not been cleaned and disinfected remain on a lorry, we will have an important virus source. We also have the evolution of the disease in wild boars. Both in wild boars and domestic pigs, we perfectly know that the disease is evolving towards milder areas or forms, and therefore we cannot expect only mortality, but that there are animals that survive. The animals that survive are carriers that are generally more difficult to detect, especially if the detection of both the virus and the antibodies are not carried out at the same time. This is another issue having to do with the risk, and in some areas it is very high. We also have the issue regarding food. Nowadays there are more workers on the farms that come from different countries. They are great, very good workers, but they come from infected countries, and what we all know for sure is that if there is something that people miss when they live abroad, apart from family and friends, is food. These people will bring food with them when they return from their holidays in their homeland, and many times they do not have the knowledge or the training enough to know that the food that entails a pleasure